Welcome to episode 4 of It's to Live For, the Weight Loss Challenge. I'm here with Jaynie Morris, who you're all familiar with now. Jaynie is our super coach.
Ooh, big label.
Yeah, big label.
Lots of responsibility.
And lots to live up to, but you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And we've got these fabulous participants, and they're doing gangbusters, aren't they? They're doing so well.
They really are. They really are. And I think one of the big surprises for me personally is that they've all said yes to this, but they all said yes to this for a reason that as we've gone through every week has actually changed and grown. So it's fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. And this week we have a twist.
We do. I've decided that the last week all participants hit some rocky roads, and I'm not talking about the lollies. And so in looking at that, of course, one of my jobs is to help with their mindsets so that what they're doing right now, they can actually take beyond.
Yep.
And so we're throwing in a twist to fix that up this week.
But the important thing, and I was chatting with some of them in the green room before, and they're actually understanding that this is not just about weight loss. This is about lifestyle. It's gaining life. It's gaining health, and it's a new life they're in for.
Absolutely, and it's one of the things that we're trying to not only help with our participants, but the viewers at home as well.
Yeah.
To take the tips and everything that we're doing with everybody that's involved and employ those tips and tools in their own life so that they can be a better version of themselves.
On that note, if the people at home would like to start using what the participants are using, and also the movement that Max is working with them, if they would like to know about that, there are 3 ways you can get in touch with us. The Facebook page, which I know a lot of you have already been on to. There's also our email, tv@mountaintrainmedia.com.au. And you can send us a message and we'll get right back to you. Or there's a number on the screen now that you can text us on. Send us your details and we'll get back to you and we'll help you out. So you too can be the best, healthiest version
of you.
Yes, it's been a pretty busy week, but it's gone quite well. It's a little bit better towards the end of the week, been a bit more positive, and the knee's still playing up, but other than that, really good, thank you.
Well, last week we gave you some homework to really work on doing ice packs as often as you possibly can, trying to get this under control because we want to get you through this next few weeks. Have you been able to do that?
I've iced it as much as I could. Work's a little bit more difficult, but home's pretty good, yes.
Yeah, good.
The weekend was good.
Yeah, I think we have to keep that going for a little while, and we'll work a little bit more on some treatment as we go. The other thing is we were talking about how we keep active and mobile, and obviously because you've got your sore knees, what we don't want to do is put all the effort into walking too much or bike riding or jogging or something like that. So what have you been doing, thinking about with movement over the week?
I've been trying to do the little exercises that we were giving in Pilates.
Right.
Definitely doing the back exercise that we're doing in Pilates. I'm having trouble getting up and down off the ground doing the exercises, so that's really been hurting my knee.
And I'm finding some interesting things that are inspiring me and making me happy and sometimes making me a bit sad, but we'll work with that later.
Okay.
But congratulations, I did see that you had a birthday morning tea at your work.
Yes, I did today.
And I'm very impressed. Did you bring all of the food yourself, or how does that work?
I stopped at a bakery on the way to work.
Yes.
And one of my ex-favourite shops, and went in there, and I usually come out with a coffee and something for breakfast, and I didn't. I come out with morning tea for my friends.
Wow,
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm so proud of you.
And I had my shake that time. I held it off a little bit so that, so that was, I think that was better.
How did you, when you actually did this today,
Yes.
how did you feel about that whole experience today?
Well, I was quite happy doing it, and until they started heating up and I could smell. No, just joking.
Oh.
No, it was fine. I knew what I was doing.
Yes.
I had a goal and an aim.
Yes.
And not to eat anything, and I made that I think I won.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's go back to the very first day that we
Yes.
started this whole adventure.
Okay, yes.
Okay. And you and I had a discussion
Yes.
together.
We did.
And we talked about why you said yes to the ItsToLiveFor, the weight loss challenge.
Yes.
So thinking back to then, has anything changed for you in regards to what your why was then as opposed to where you are at the halfway mark now?
Well, my why, well, what I wanted to gain from this was actually to do with my shoelaces. But now I really have been thinking about it, and my mother's had 3 bouts with cancer, and my father has passed with heart disease. And I'm a conglomeration of both of them, so I just, looking at myself, I think I've got to do something to make myself happier and healthier and not have some of those issues.
They go quick, don't they?
Every week does, doesn't it?
Am I any better looking this week than I was last week?
We'll save that for the for your
okay,
feedback,
that's
if
fair
you like.
enough.
Now, we gave you some homework last week. We were a bit
Yes.
concerned because you had a bit of foot pain.
That's right, I did.
How did you go with that?
So I did what you said. I went home and I iced it regularly for the first 3 days. I put my orthotics back in my shoes. Actually, I had new shoes and didn't worry about putting the orthotics in there, and that's what got me into that position. So the first few days went past and it's completely gone now. There's no pain there whatsoever.
Good.
And I've loaded it fairly heavily this week, like the last part of the week, the last few days.
What do you mean by loading?
I've been doing a lot of walking.
Yep.
I've been back on the treadmill running. I sort of heard your voice saying, don't run, don't run, don't run. But I just sort of, I'm going hard because I'm feeling so good that I just needed to be doing something. So.
Okay. As long as you're listening to your body as well, though,
Yeah.
Brett. If you feel that there's a twinge or an ache or it starts to get stiff or is a bit sore in the morning, I really want you to listen to your body.
Yeah.
Okay? It's very important you do, because if you react straight away, get the ice going, back off a little bit from those aggravating activities,
Yeah.
then you'll get it in control and you won't have problems.
When we had our first sit down and our first conversation, we talked about the reasons why you said yes to us to be a part of this great show, our very first weight loss challenge show for ItsToLiveFor. Thinking back then, has anything changed for you? in regards to that?
Yeah, a lot's changed. One thing that's changed dramatically is from day one, I didn't actually think that I was as heavy and unwell or unfit as what I actually thought I was. So I thought that's just the way a 49-year-old man feels.
Right.
And I must admit that I was settling into that. And here we are only a month down the track and energy levels are a different level. Like I said, I'm getting my mojo back. I'm really exercising hard and recovering well. So I'm getting up the next day and, I'm able to go again because, the sore spots aren't as sore. So just with that, I guess that education that's happening around us as well, I'm managing myself better. So there's a whole lot of things that are going on up here that are changing. And it's sort of like I'm on top of what got me in this mess in the first place. So now I feel like it's time to put my foot on the throat and actually work a little bit harder and go a bit harder at it.
But has there been anything that's come up for you in particular in this last week that you have thought, you know what, I'm going to start employing that mindset, I'm going to start employing those thoughts moving forward to help get me closer to where my goal is in relation to all of this?
I asked myself a question because I see, there's a lot of talk about this type of scenario, weight loss. It's just bombarding you from everywhere, and there's a whole lot of, people, I suppose, feeling the challenge of what we've been feeling. But the question that I asked myself is, Brett, is it really that hard? And I think, well, it is hard in a way because I'm giving it 100% of my effort. So when it's 100% of effort, it's normally reasonably hard, and then as you get to the next level of fitness, you're still working at 100%. So there's that hardness about it. But the reality is that, it can't be as hard as the doctor saying, Brett, you're heading down an obesity scale. Brett, you've got to be careful that you're heading to type 2 diabetes. Brett, you're a heart attack candidate. So if I compare hard to hard of hearing those words, then I don't think what we're doing is particularly hard. It just takes a focused effort.
Guys, so what I wanted to have a quick group huddle with you this week is we're halfway through. All of you have done amazing so far. There's a couple of little things that we've got to check in on, all right? First of all, remember what I said right from day one. This whole adventure, it's not a diet. Okay, it's not a diet. We're actually doing a lifestyle change. It took you all a long time to get to where you were when we started, right? And that's the reason why you said yes to this. However, it's not a quick fix. It is a change, not just from a physical perspective, but also an emotional perspective, a soul and a heart perspective. All right, are we all sort of clear on that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so with that, for instance, in the last week, we all hit a bit of a block. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
There was a couple of little, I don't know.
A few of them bumps.
Was there?
Hurdles, yeah.
A few hurdles? Hurdles is a good word. What about you, Brett? During the week?
Look, I am part of the team, but I just cruised through. I was laughing.
All right, there's
Not a
one
bum,
in
not an
every
issue.
group. Okay,
No, I take that back. We always have a little road bump along the way.
Yeah.
We always do, don't we?
Exactly. And Mel, you've got the cold that's going around, but you also had a couple of little bumps, a little bit of self-doubt with
I
a
got
few
stuck
things.
in the weeds a bit there.
Yeah, good term. I like that. Stuck in the weeds. That's good. And Carol, you did as well, didn't you?
I did too, yeah. I found the potholes, honestly.
Yeah. So do you find that it's interesting when you were all talking to each other throughout the course of the last week, that right from day one there were some of you that were compared to the other couple of weeks. So from a mindset perspective, this is what's happened. Remember I said on day one that it takes a certain amount of time to change a habit, yeah? When you hit day 21, when you've started a new adventure to change things in your life, specifically from a mindset perspective, your mind is going to go in a different direction as to where you've set your course to.
And how have you gone with your activities this week?
Yeah, good.
Have you taken on any new activities at all?
For me, I think normally if I had to go to the shops for groceries or certain things, I would normally take the car, whereas now I'm actually walking to the shops all the time. So as long as it's not like a whole trolley full of groceries, if it's just a few things, I'll actually walk there now. Mm-hmm. And then if I need to go to the city, which I have to go to the city a lot, instead of taking the tram, I'm walking there now.
Right.
So I have substituted a lot of public transport and my own car for walking now.
Interesting. And has that affected you time-wise to do the things you want to do?
No. I've still found time to do it, and I feel much better for doing it as well. For me to walk to the city from my house is only like a 50-minute walk, mm-hmm. and as long as I've got my iPod with me listening to music, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't seem like a big walk at all.
So you actually enjoy that
very
process?
much so. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's interesting that prior to this you didn't actually do those things?
Occasionally, very, very seldomly would I do that, but now I do it all the time. So in the last week, I've had to see 2 people in the city at separate times, and I've walked to the city and walked home. So there's like an extra nearly 2 hours of walking. So
that's terrific.
Have there been any sort of light bulb moments for you?
Just having more energy. Like I haven't been very active for the last few years, and just having the energy to do a lot of things that I normally wouldn't be able to. I think my mood has been a lot better maybe in the last 3 weeks. I mean, of course we all have our ups and downs, and you have your days where you don't have any energy whatsoever, yes. But it's really pushing me to do some things that I haven't done for a few years now. So it's been many positives.
And has there been any time that you've gone, I shouldn't have said yes? And if so, why?
Okay, I would say maybe once or twice in this last week. I found this week 3 particularly challenging in terms that I've had a couple of social engagements in the last week, mm-hmm. and being surrounded by other people that are drinking a lot of alcohol, eating a lot of food, and there's myself that's sitting there in the corner saying, I'll just have my salad, I'll just have my soda water. And it's tough, and it's a very strong, you've got to be strong and you've got to have the willpower, because for myself, this adventure is extremely important and I want to succeed in this at the end. So therefore, certain things you have to miss out on if you want to succeed. So I think that's what I've done so far, and I've had a lot of willpower, and I know that I will for the remainder of the adventure as well.
So I see you have your It's to Live for the Weight Loss Challenge journal. Excellent. So have you been diligent in putting things in there, your thoughts and...
I've probably been too honest in there. I've written some pretty way out things in there, but I think it's very important to get all of your emotions out. And I mean, not that for 1 minute anyone else is going to see this,
no,
but
that's not what it's
I think
for.
it's very important to write down your feelings, and you need to be honest with yourself. So every week I've done quite a few entries where I've written every single thing that has been in my head, whether it's positive or negative.
Yes.
And it's all in this.
So you found that this tool that we're using, which is one of many, this has actually been helping you?
It helps because it gets frustrations out. So if I'm really frustrated that I can't have a bucket of KFC, then I write it down in this. I've been very, very honest.
How did you go this week?
Not too bad. I started off the week with the strapping on my feet, thankfully. That did make a difference. And I did my exercises with raising the arches of my feet, which was great. So I did that at work, which is brilliant because I can do it waiting at the photocopier. If I'm waiting for something in the kitchen, I can just stand there and do that and everybody knows what you're doing.
Exactly.
And I also had to ice my feet as much as possible. I think 3 times a day was the wish list. However, it was only probably twice a day for about 3 days. Unfortunately, I did get sick.
Right.
I spent a lot of time sleeping.
Okay, so you haven't been able to do as much activity this week as you would have liked.
No,
But even so, it's great that you're feeling a lot better. And what we'll do is we'll make sure we're looking at those exercises we've given you. We'll check them today and we'll have a look at the support that you need to do. But it shows you that you really have to make sure physically that you're working in a very economic way, and biomechanics are the key. We'll talk about that more as we go along as well. So activity-wise, hopefully this week you can really get yourself back on track and get into some walking and some other activities, and have a great week.
Excellent, thank you.
There's a couple of quick questions I'd like to ask of you. Going back to day one, you and I had a nice little conversation about why you actually said yes to being a part of this. In the last weeks, especially the last week, you personally have had quite a few challenges.
Yes.
Thinking about that discussion that we first had, has anything changed for you? Has your why of doing all of this changed, or has it shifted in some way?
I don't think it's changed. I think it's sharpened. So going through what I went through this week, it's just brought it more into focus that this is definitely what I need to do right now for me and also for my family.
So when you say that it's more important and your focus is sharpened,
yes,
are you feeling like that's something that has come upon you now and is going to be a temporary situation, or how are you feeling about the future?
I think it's more as an ebb and flow thing. So I think I started this, challenge, and I was like, yeah, come on, let's go. And then I had a bit of a week where I was like, oh, yeah, I can do it. And then, coming up, I'm like back to, no, yeah, I definitely have to do this. I have to get healthier. I have to get fitter. There's a reason why I'm doing it. That reason is definitely still there. So my drive is definitely coming back.
So has anything come up for you that has made you second guess what you're doing?
Hasn't second guessed anything, but it's definitely been a bit harder this week. I got sick, and with 2 children, full-time job, husband, house to run. It
Total overload.
Definitely got harder. However, I found that I relied on the products and the process to actually get me through. So without that, I think I probably would have quite easily gone back to the chips, the chocolate, the ice cream, the comfort foods that make you feel better when you feel sick. They give you that false energy that you need to get through the day. So this really gave me something strong to fall back onto and go, no, I don't have to be unhealthy to get my energy. I can actually do this properly and probably get better a lot faster.
In this next week, one of the things I said to you at the beginning of this whole adventure in regards to these fabulous nutritional cleansing products that we've been giving you, right, is that you could take these products because they flood your body with nutrition and they cleanse you from a toxicity perspective to assist you with your physical goal. You could take these products and do no exercise at all and probably still get a result. Do you remember I said that? So for the next 7 days, you are not allowed to exercise. You are not allowed to swim. You are not allowed to go to the gym. You are not allowed to go for a run. You are to do what you normally do every day before you started this from a physical perspective. You can go for 30 minutes. You can go for 30 minutes for a walk. That can be as fast or slow as you want, but 30 minutes is the maximum every day. The reason that we've put this twist in is that it's part of beyond the 8 weeks, because beyond the 8 weeks, you're going to have times when you are not going to be doing all the physical activity that you've been doing in the last few weeks. So we're going to give you an opportunity to see what that's like and to see how you go with that as well. All right? I can see some sad faces. But next week will be the teller. 30 minutes maximum, any cheating, and what's going to happen? Jaynie's going to...
Max, we're at the end of our 4th show.
Halfway.
Absolutely. So it's to live for the weight loss challenge. There's a few challenges that people are really having, and certainly with your area, with the fitness.
With movement and looking at the actions, motions. Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
the first few weeks we really just spent our time looking at how they're going in terms of injuries, their movements, their abilities to keep themselves active and mobile, and making sure they're heading in the right direction. Today is a turning point though. Today we've started to introduce the idea and make them think a little bit more about just getting more mobile, more active.
Yeah.
And this is the difficulty for most people. We've come to believe that it's all about workouts and get ourselves really sweating and very, very active for periods of time. The downside to that is that actually tends to increase your appetite, and so it's working against you.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is get them to start understanding that just a small change in their day can make a big difference to the amount of energy that you're using.
Yeah, and it still produces those endorphins that you need, and that because they kind of get addicted to the endorphins, don't they? And you know, the gym.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Some people do, and of course that's great for them if they do, because then they like that and they're likely to keep going. But most people don't enjoy those activities as much after a while.
No.
They tend to wear away
No.
from it. And what we want to do is get people just to understand that motion is important for many reasons, mostly because it gives feedback to the nervous system as well. And so it's a very good thing for the nervous system to get more input, and it tends to make sure that we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah. And because we're building lean muscle, we need to move.
If we think back to what I said right at the start, what we want is this attitude to fitness to be much more about being able to do what you really want to do. So rather than think about being fit as buff and trim, what we want to do is being fit and active to do the things that you like.
Yeah, exactly. This is It's to Live For, the Weight Loss Challenge. This is week 4. You've seen our participants, you've seen Jaynie Morris. I'm here with Max Kavanagh, and we hope we see you again next week.